if only you knew.
All right, it's Valentine's Day in a few days. It's all about love. But what about your connection to yourself? Today, we're going to dive into the love hormones, energy, rituals, and ancient practices that awaken desire and vitality from the inside out right after this. Welcome, everybody. This is the Life Enthusiast Health Shots podcast, restoring vitality to you and the planet. I'm your co-host, Scott Paton. Joining us, as usual, Martin Pytela, health engineer. How are you doing today, Martin?
Oh, I don't even want to say. But let's just say that I'm overcommitted.
Overcommitted, yes. That's a huge part when it comes to love and relationships and life. And it's hard to get through. It's been very hard to get through my head that less is more, and then it's amazing how difficult it is to whittle all of the little fires I've created in my life. You know, the fire to do this, my exercise fire, my eating properly fire, my breathing properly fire, my praying properly fire, my exercise properly fire, if I didn't say that, my work fires. And I'm visiting my son and his family. And what I notice is they are so busy that I don't think that they spend very much time with their kids. And it's just really serious interaction, playtime, right? Not yet. I mean, they see them, they're in the same building, but it's just like, oh man, I'm so busy and I have all these things that I want to do. And so I notice that I'm taking time away from all of those other fires, and I'm putting them into the family fire right now because I want to spend more time with my grandkids. And I think also I have had the experience of kids, which is a totally different perspective than the first time with my two sons, right? I'm sure that if me now went back in time and was sort of floating over my house, 20 years ago, I'd probably be saying like, how can you be doing that when these kids are, can't you see that they want to be around you more? So I don't know if it's, the elder.
My wife and I are presently quite involved with the two grandsons that our daughter brought to the world. And my wife does a lot more of it. She was able to retire from the business while I'm still working at it full time, maybe time and a half. And so anyway, I get time with them too. And I just see how the society has totally messed up because that the machine has sucked in people to require two incomes in order to live in a house. People have been pricing houses higher and higher and higher. And I think it's the market forces. When you have two people working, you have two incomes. And so those people will bid up to here on the house they want, which of course will force everyone else to creep up to it. And then we started getting regulations and whatever else, and the price of housing is simply going up. And it's not just the cost of the house, it's the cost of the insurance and of the utilities and the maintenance and the upkeep and whatever. And they are up to here in having to work, which I wasn't. I was the guy who went to work. My wife stayed home and raised the kids. I showed up. I supported them. She supported the kids, right? That's gone.
Yeah.
Like this generation, it takes both of them.
Yeah.
And there's the time. You asked about
so Martin, the big question, because it's Valentine's Day, is what does that lifestyle do to our libido, to our relationships with, the most important, well, let's just say our significant other.
Man, I'm just so exhausted by the time the evening rolls in. thinking about sex is out the window. Uh, I saw an episode on the Big Bang Theory where um, oh, whatever, Simon, what was the name of the character, and Melissa. I know them as the actors' names, but anyway, here they are with two kids, and somebody took them away, or they went to sleep, and they said, "Okay, let's get it on," and they both put their heads down on their arms and start sleeping right at the kitchen table.
You actually remind me of a time when I was divorced and I had my boys over for the weekend, and so they came over and they were sitting on the couch, and I says, this weekend I think let's just not do anything. Let's just chill. We're not going to go out and all the things that we often do. Yeah. And they both looked and said, "Oh, Dad, that would be so good." And one of them just stretched right out on the couch and went to sleep. So it's not just us. We do the same thing to our children, right? You want them to go to the soccer games and the baseball games and the football games and all the different things that they can do. But sometimes we forget. We're just push.
Yeah, they do not need as much structured time as we think they do.
Right. Yeah. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about hormones and the biology of connection. And the first one I want to talk about is the love hormone, which is oxytocin.
That's the name.
How can we increase that? Like, what increases that, the love hormone?
Well, it's triggered by bonding. Did you know that dogs have about 100 times the level of oxytocin in their bloodstream as we do? That's why they are so bonded. When you come into the door, the dog is just so happy.
Yes.
That's what you want to do when daddy comes home, right? So anyway, oxytocin, it gets mostly triggered, or always triggered, when the mother is doing the breast milk letdown at the breastfeeding. That's the well-known moment,
right?
But it also happens when people are bonding with one another. Like it's the
the touching, eye contact. It's amazing to me how hard it is to look deeply into somebody's eyes. Like that can be, because it's such a vulnerable feeling. Like they're looking right into you, right? And you're looking right into them. But it's the important part of the bonding process.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, and the next one I've got three more I want to quickly go through before we get on with it, and that is the dopamine. So this is associated with pleasure and reward and attraction.
Yeah, that's the reward hormone. Yeah, that's the one that we get a hit of when we do something that we enjoy doing.
Or we get a like on our post on Instagram.
Yeah.
So we need to give each other likes.
When I tell you I love you, Scott.
Right.
That's a dopamine token.
I love you too, Martin.
Yeah.
I'll give it right back. So testosterone and estrogen. And you'll notice, by the way, we're not saying that testosterone is something we've been talking about a lot personally, Martin and I. So this will be good.
Well, both men and women have testosterone and estrogen, but it's different ratios. In men is testosterone first, in women is estrogen first. And the testosterone is the aggressive driver, and the estrogen is the supportive engulfer, the hug and whatever. But they both happen at the same time, right? Estrogen makes you skinny and upper body strength. Did I say testosterone?
No, you said estrogen.
I flipped it in my head. Testosterone makes you skinny and upper body strength. Estrogen makes you softer and nurturing.
Thanks, George. You hit the word on the head. So
yeah.
And they play a role in sexual desire, right? Like Men's
Well, yeah,
testosterone
absolutely.
drops over time. So, when you hit like 110 or something, it's pretty low. And you'll find, actually, I remember talking to a guy, he was 85 and he had a really lovely wife and who was about 20 years younger. And he says to me, he says, Scott, he says, I told my wife, if she can get it up, she can ride it. But don't expect me to do anything.
Oh God, that's such a cop out. We now have the ways to get there.
Right.
Exercise gets you there. The aggression gets you there. It's two-way. But what's interesting is that cortisol, the stress hormone, will discombobulate these hormones, both testosterone and estrogen. So you will be less of you when you're fighting for your life. The desire.
That's funny
to
you say that, because that was my next hormone that I was going to bring up. It's the libido killer.
Oh yeah, the drain, the cortisol. If you are fighting for your life, you're not contemplating reproduction.
Right. Yeah. If there's a tiger in the field right in front of you, 10 feet away, yeah. Sex is the last thing on your mind.
Yeah, that's right.
So in our society where we don't have tigers, laying around ready to eat us, what are some of the things we can do to reduce the cortisol?
Well, to reduce the cortisol,
rest.
Well, take cortisol ease comes to mind. I have the tincture. Right, take a shot of cortisol ease, and you're good within 20 minutes. Rest. Well, what's interesting, what really worked for me was that I would go to a gym after work and I would actually do the hard workout for 30, 40 minutes.
Right.
And then
because cortisol is from stress. So if we can get rid of that stress, work out, run, yell,
burn it off.
I think sometimes that's why sports are so popular, because it gives everybody an excuse to yell at the top of their lungs, right?
Yeah.
Cortisol, yeah, we'll have it in the description for you. So let's look at some libido supporting foods. And the first one I want to talk about is dark chocolate.
Well, okay, so listen, arousal as such, you cannot tell stress from excitement or from libido firing up. The same signaling molecule, histamine, is used to get you excited sexually or get you excited, period. So all the histamine foods, champagne, chocolate, strawberries, they are all high histamine. Cinnamon is an accumulator that will also raise the histamine with it. And then fermented foods, aged cheese, aged meats. So your charcuterie board with strawberries and chocolates with champagne on the side is all going to just rush the histamine in. So that's going to be an instant arousal, right? Like right there on the spot.
So that's why we take a box of chocolates to our sweetheart.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. And ply them with champagne and chocolates and strawberries dipped in chocolate.
They love strawberries dipped in chocolate.
Well, exactly.
Okay. What about actually, one of the things I wanted to talk about was maca root. So I'm going to bring up one of ours, which I really like. It's maca root by
we have
herbs.
7 ways of maca. Well, maca is really interesting. It grows everywhere, but the one that is useful grows in Peru, in the Andes, at 14,000 feet elevation. The Chinese went to Peru and got a whole bunch of maca and took it back with them to the mainland and started growing it. And it was no better than pea protein powder. You need to torture this plant in the 14,000 feet of elevation to cause it to suffer. And when it does, it then gets these compounds into itself that will, when you eat it, pass on to you the resilience of the high elevation.
Right.
So your metabolic ability is greatly improved when you eat that alkaloid from the high elevation. That's what it's
Cool.
about.
So do you just take it
energy-
straight?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this. Sexual desire is a side effect of having abundant life force. When you have very little, when your life force reserve is practically drained, you are just no longer interested. But
Right.
when you are loaded with it, you want to express it. You want to spray it all over the world.
Very true.
So when you raise your life force, available life force that you can spare, you will also be inspired to reproduce, or at least do the activity that would possibly lead to that.
Okay, so let's talk. I'm going to give you four of them in a row, actually. Pumpkin seeds, avocados, olives, and oysters. So the pumpkin seeds, do we need that for testosterone production?
Yeah, it's helpful. Pumpkin seed is phenomenal for helping men with their prostate. And then, of course,
it's rich in zinc, I think, right?
Yeah. Zinc is one super important ingredient. Men need twice as much of it as women if they want to stay active. It's famously in oysters.
Yeah, that was my fourth one, rich in zinc and dopamine precursors.
Right, yeah. But
And go ahead.
You can take a supplement pill with phenylalanine, which is the precursor to that, right? Like you can supplement your way into it.
Right. Well, that's good because I don't really care for oysters. So avocados and olives, they have great fat, like healthy fats in them, right?
That's too, but also it's tyramine. Tyra, tyramine. It's also in ripe bananas, and it's in the ripe avocados, and there's this hydroxytyrosol in olive oil, which I don't know if you remember better olive oils. They have this sort of a bite to them.
Yeah.
It sort of like catches you in the throat. That's the tyrosol hitting you. And it's an anti-aging compound. You will hear other nutritionists extol the virtues of hydroxytyrosol in olive oil as the anti-aging thing.
And so it's in olives as well.
Well, of course it's in it. That's where it comes from.
Right. So this is why the Mediterranean diet, one of the reasons why the Mediterranean diet can be so powerful, because they're eating olives like all day.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So let's talk a little bit about some supplements and herbs. And the first one is ashwagandha.
Well, ashwagandha is an Indian thingy. Translate from Sanskrit, it comes back as the strength of a horse.
Oh, well, that's good.
Ashwagandha is an adaptogenic herb that helps you just simply be strong.
Cool. And the next one is shatavari.
Don't know about that at all.
An Ayurvedic herb for feminine vitality and hormonal balance.
Never took it myself.
No, we wouldn't want to. Ginseng is an interesting one.
Yeah, sure. Well, ginseng is a stimulating thing, right? So when you take ginseng, it's, again, especially the Siberian ginseng is very good at life force support. Again, you grow it in very, very hostile climates. Epimedium and rhodiola and ashwagandha and all of that. Those are all the adaptogens. They all will supply the life force that you want to have a lot of.
Cool. And one of the products I wanted to bring up today was Miracle Tea. So maybe
that's a sideways thingy, but okay. That's a liver detox and sort
I
of
don't know
an.
why it came up for me, but it
I
came
would
up
like
for me under
I would like
ginseng.
you to highlight Meridium instead.
Okay, we'll find Meridium.
Yeah, I sent it into the private chat. Um, the this miracle tea is lovely. It's a liver detox, and of course, if you have your liver in a better shape, you will have energy to spare. Certainly that. And when you drink this tea, you will also be eliminating better, and you will be slimmer and just general wellness. But
Cool.
anyway,
Here's the Meridian you were talking about.
that is the thing that we really want to tell people about. This is the oxytocin supplement.
Oh,
This
cool.
very thing.
So naturally boosts your body's feel-good hormone, oxytocin. You'll have a better mood. You'll be more in love. Youthful energy and stamina, calm, clear mind, operating at its best. Well, that sounds like the most beautiful promise ever.
This is the very thing that I want everyone to buy for their
Significant other.
Valentine's presents to one another.
Happier moods, more love and compassion, less stress and anxiety, calm and relaxed, more empathic. Boy, we certainly need more empathic in our society today.
Oh, no way.
More energy, enhanced social life, your work, your love life, and your ability to get the most out of life.
Yeah. You know, that Scott, you just said something really important, which is the put yourself in the other person's shoes, right? See the problem from the other person's eyes. We do so much less of it than what we need to be doing right now.
Yeah. And it just feels like all the influences in our lives are geared towards doing the exact opposite.
Well, yeah, of course. The Facebook stuff, or I don't want to single them out, but they are a big force of that, is that they want to have you in their silo, angry scrolling through the feed and eliminating all other things, just tunnel vision on your fixation.
And you know, that's a result of, I think, probably if the un or subconscious way that we react to things, right? Like I'll scroll through my feed and I'll see something that makes me mad and I'll type something. And then I'll scroll through and there's a number of comedians I like. So Facebook shows me their reels, you know, in like 2 minutes of them saying a joke, and then I'll laugh, but I'll never like, and I'll never leave a comment. Right? So I should be liking and commenting the comedians who I think are funny, and I should be ignoring and not giving any feedback to the idiots that are trying to get me mad.
Remember that story of the two wolves and the Cherokee, whatever, you know, grandfather? I have two wolves inside of me. The one that's loving and kind, and the other one that's angry and hostile. And they're fighting. Which one shall win?
Exactly.
Grandfather? The one you will feed.
The one you will feed. Yeah. So I've just had a huge life-changing insight. Thank you, Martin, for that. Because I'm going to make that change.
That's right. Click yes on that which you want. This was a famous thing of how to raise a child and how to train a dog. Positive reinforcement. Facebook is all about negative reinforcement, and we need to find a way to break it. We need to teach ourselves. I mean, listen, we humans are wired backwards because we're wired for danger. We're wired for not dying, right? So I have to have my amygdala always filtering incoming inputs and saying, this is fine, ignore it. This is fine, ignore. Instead, it says, oh, this is danger. Act on that.
So much
I'm
different
wired that way.
Yeah, you just reminded me of the cats that I house sit, right? Yeah. They'll be laying in the sun and just like totally relaxed. Something may happen and they may, you know, perk up and take a look around. Then they think, okay, it's fine. And then they totally relax.
Yeah.
Dogs too, right?
Yeah.
Although
Yeah.
dogs get a little more excited when people walk by than the cats do.
Right. They want to
But
bond with them.
yeah, you think that they're barking away because they're mad or something. No, they're barking, come here, I want to play with you.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe not. We'll see. So, Martin, so we know what the problem is. We know that we live in a society that puts a huge amount of stress on people that causes their bonds to break apart. We have 55% divorce rates in North America or somewhere around that level, which shows that the bonding does not hold or it gets destroyed, either way. So what would be, let's put together a Valentine's Day plan for people. And I know it's only 3 days away, so you're not going to be making any huge changes, but what I would recommend is take a look at our plan and then talk with your sweetheart, male or female, and just say, like, what can we do to sort of spend this time, right? You spend an hour watching Netflix every night after work and putting the kids to bed. Well, be on the same couch and, touching and together. Don't be in separate lounge chairs or whatever. There's simple things. And I find that it's really, really difficult to make changes in life if I don't set myself up to make the changes in life.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, create the conditions. Well, number one, from my selfish perspective, I want people to buy 2 things, Meridium and cortisol ease. Have it in your house. And push Meridium when you want to feel loved and be more loved, and push cortisol ease when you would like to be less stressed.
Okay.
Yeah, like that. Those are your emergency tools. And then whatever Scott just described, which is the create the conditions, right? Make the terrain, make it so that you don't actually need those 2 things. But
yeah, another example, I'm with kids now, they're 3 and 6 and 15. It takes them 5 minutes to make the place a mess, right? And I don't mean, it's just there's toys all over the place, right? And so there has to, Love the Wolf Story always thought of a tattoo of that for me, son, since he likes tattoos. Thanks, Wendy. We appreciate that.
Wow. And look, somebody will decorate their body with something that important.
Yeah.
So much better than a flag or the name of a person that you may end up divorcing.
Yeah. So
Amy loves John right here.
Yeah.
Sorry, John is John.
And then now she doesn't. So now what happens?
Yeah.
But I think, part of the problem is, you were talking about all this, working and how expensive life is and everything else. And the other part of that is, George says, mine says USMC.
I honestly don't know what MC stands for.
Marine Corps.
Marine Corps? It's probably Marine Corps. So that would be the Semper Fi or whatever it is that they say to one another in one of the branches or something like that, right? Leave none behind. Okay, go on.
My point was, we clutter our lives up, right? Mm-hmm. If you have 30 plates, you're going to go through all 30 plates and have them in the sink before you start washing them. If you have 4, because you're a family of 4, then they get washed all the time. So it's kind of, I think we have do or die, George says. So this is a do or die thing, right? If we're constantly, unthinkingly, I don't want to even say subconsciously or unconsciously, if we're just, it's Christmas, I need to buy 5 toys for every kid. Now you have 15 toys. In 10 years, you have 150 toys. You have a mess. Whereas if, and I live a very minimalistic lifestyle, so, you have to take that into consideration. But, they had a friend come over and he brought this massive toy. It's a railway thing and it's got a crane and it's huge. And it takes up, 2 square feet. and all the stuff with it takes up another 10 square feet, and you can't walk without stepping on something. So you have to be really careful. Well, you multiply that by, how much stuff do they really need to play with? There's tons of toys down here. They play with it once for 5 minutes, once a week. So, you need to look at your environment.
Scott, you just described my grandson's life. They have loving grandparents and uncles and whatnots, and everybody wants to bring them something. Every time there's some anniversary, any birthday, and this and that and whatever, and just stuff. When I was a kid with my brother, we had an American, somebody sent us 2 Matchbox automobiles.
Oh, yeah.
One was a Thunderbird, the other one was an Impala. That was the extent of the automobiles that my brother and I grew up with. That's it.
Yeah.
The other toy was a stick and a rock, or maybe a brick or something, a wooden block. And one day the wooden block was a truck. The next day it was a siren on a police car and whatever. Like, that was it. We just imagined stuff and played with that.
Yeah.
Oh,
you reminded me when I was a teenager, about three other guys and I, we found there were a bunch of trees, but the branches were about this thick and they went horizontal, so we could stand on them and jump. So we were right in the middle of the forest somewhere, and we would just spend hours trying to knock each other off, not by touching, but by bouncing on this thing, right? It's like, you can create, but we make it so we destroy the creativity because they spend 20 hours a day watching cartoons and shows.
And you know what's interesting, Scott? The more fancy the thing is, the more features it has, the less imagination it allows.
Yeah.
If it's remote control and crank and this and that and whatever, the more it has, the less developmentally challenging it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
which is all our way of saying that, spending time together, you don't need to have, a bunch of stuff. You can just be together, but we're not used to that. We're using children and our experiences as kids as the example, but we overload them with stuff so they don't have to think, and then they don't use their imagination.
I'm just pissed with us as consumers because we fall into the marketing message that this thing is better.
Right.
The most fun these kids have had is when we give them an empty cardboard box and a block.
Yeah.
Anyway, blah. Enough on that. So about your love and all of that.
Thank you, Wendy.
Throw all the stuff away. Take your clothes off. Get under a blanket and cuddle.
That's right. And if you have a fireplace, put a fire on.
Yeah, put a fire on. Okay.
So we've come pretty much to the imagination, George. That is the key. And we really need to help our kids develop that imagination. We've come to the end of our time together. Martin, thank you for taking time out of your busy day. And thank you, everybody, for joining us every Wednesday, 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 Pacific. We're here. We really appreciate your support, your interactions, and make sure you like, subscribe, and push the button. Also, there's a share button, and share it to whatever social media you really like, and you can also email it or messenger it to your friends. Feel free to do that. We appreciate all the support that we get. Before I do
tell somebody you care about that Life Enthusiast has stuff worth sharing. Thank you.
That's right. That's right. So I want to leave you with a question. And the question is this: what makes you feel most alive, connected, and full of radiant love? And I want you to just sit with that and think about that, and then think, how can I create the environment where that is my daily experience? So with that, this is the Life Enthusiast Health Shots podcast, restoring vitality to you and the planet. And we'll see you next time, everybody. Bye for now.
My body's a temple, but the walls are cracked. feelings like a river turn to dust. Toxic whispers in the wind, but I gotta rebuild. I must.